Hello there, I'm your host, that Sinestro teaser that led to nowhere from the Green Lantern movie, reporting to you live from the Barbenheimer Dream Bunker, and this is your week on Twitter in review. Look guys, if you didn't like the show, you could have just said something. I'd have even taken a bribe. You didn't have to go ask Elon to destroy Twitter just to shut down the whole show. Yes, the muskrat himself limited the number of tweets people could read and make with no clear sign of when this new social media curfew will come to an end. While it may be funny knowing that annoying Twitter account you hate has to actually go outside for a change, this might be the first time we've ever seen a company that wasn't Warner Brothers self-destruct quite this badly. It makes you wonder if Musk's brain chip company Neuralink will place thought limits on its users. But then again, limiting brain function is already what Twitter's used for, so probably not. Taking advantage of the social media crack fiends left jonesing for their next dopamine fix was everyone's favorite lizard person, Mark Zuckerberg. That's right, the Zuck himself unleashed a new app called Threads onto the world, and it's a lot like Twitter, except instead of accounts you care about talking about relevant topics, your feed is made up of self-help gurus and rich kids that think a smartphone makes them a model. That said, it is entertaining watching Twitter cloud accounts show up on Threads and bomb without their previous echo chamber to prop up their really dumb jokes. Speaking of echo chambers, Trunk supporters around the Twitter sphere were crushed to discover that James Gunn appears to be favoring the New 52 Superman suit as opposed to something with bright red granny panties. There's no word on if they'll turn against James the way they did Zack for the lack of crimson thongs, or ignore it like they did with Superman and Lois. However, it may not matter, as the mustache daddy behind Robert Pattinson's 90s grunge rocker Batman may be fleshing out his own DC universe, because apparently, Matt Reeves has zero faith in a dude that bleaches his beard. On the topic of James Gunn, some scenes from his third Guardians of the Galaxy movie recently hit the internet, and oh sweet Epstein Island are they bad. They range from Gunn waddling around like a caged child in a prison cell, to Adam telling his mother figure that he will kill her enemies, play with the mush of their liquefied brains, and perform sexual acts on what remains of their corpses while she watches. Oh, just lovely. Of course, all of us here at the studio were shocked that James Gunn would make an off-color joke like that. I mean, it's not like he had thousands of tweets that could have served as a red flag of any sort. Another thing that Warner Brothers refuses to talk about is Blue Beetle. The movie's slated to release in a month, and so far the studio that canned Batgirl has said almost nothing about the movie. In fact, things have gotten so bad that fans have started begging people to go see the movie when it debuts so they can still get sequels, and have even resorted to making fan-made, recut trailers to try and build up hype. This is actually just really depressing, because Warner Brothers has somehow conditioned its fan base to do all of this work for them for free, and then blame one another when the studio's movie fails to break even. We still have to wait to see if Blue Beetle flops or not before James Gunn can decide whether or not it belongs in his cinematic universe or is totally someone else's fault, which leaves the film in a sort of Schrodinger's continuity. Not to worry though, James Gunn has clarified that while Superman Legacy is the first DCU movie, Jaime Reyes is the first DCU hero, which of course makes total sense and shouldn't be questioned whatsoever, just like his blog history. Speaking of deranged behavior, Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav found out that an article had been written about him that didn't say very nice things. It said things like, "This guy cancels movies for tax write-offs and tried to kill Turner Classic Movies." Completely insane, right? It only actually happened. Naturally, being the billionaire CEO that David is, he chose to do the mature thing, and he demanded that the website take the article down while threatening the job security of the author. So now the headline is that there was a headline about Zaslav and he cried about it. They're sort of like a hydra. You cut off one headline and two more take its place. The world will inevitably know about all of the mistakes that Flintstone-shaped man has made at Warner Brothers. Of the famous Zaslav failures, the most recent is how badly The Flash has performed at the box office. The movie's looking to wrap up with the same box office haul as Morbius and should cost Warner Brothers upwards of $300 to $400 million between initial filming, reshoots, paying for Justice League actor cameos that James Gunn ended up cutting and not using anyway, and of course, advertising. If there was anything good to come out of this movie, it's that Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot all scored one more paycheck from the company that royally fumbled their franchise. Meanwhile, in a galaxy not so far, far away, Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon has been blowing up the internet, as not just his usual fans, but Star Wars fans have started showing excitement for the former DC director's space trilogy. Empire magazine picked Rebel Moon for this month's cover story, where details about how the ship's engines run on paracausal beings, an ancient king's death led to Anthony Hopkins being the last of his robot kind, and how a potential TV series about the big bad of the franchise, Lord Regent Belisarius, could be in the works over at Netflix. Take that last one with a grain of salt though, since they still haven't given us Army of the Dead's Las Vegas animated series yet, and if they keep delaying it, I will storm Netflix like it's Area 51. Unfortunately, Zach Trending ruffled some feathers because he dared to exist and make movies. I mean, why would a director even do that? It's horrible. He's basically Hitler. The man that once gave us Gears of War, Cliff Bleszinski, took to Twitter to tell everyone how much he totally respects Zach, but hates seeing him on his Twitter feed and is tired of seeing him trend all of the time. He then said he loves Zach, but his fans need to move on from DC, even though Zach was trending because of the flood of new information surrounding his Netflix-produced films. In Cliffy B's defense, he's probably just upset because the actor currently attached to play Marcus Phoenix, Dave Bautista, discussed the prospect of the movie with Zach while making Army of the Dead. Or maybe it's just because more people talk about Zach on a daily basis than play Lawbreakers. Who knows? There was a wave of DC-related Snyder discourse this week, but not by his fans. It was by his very loud haters, who were convinced that the parking garage in Man of Steel was full of orphan babies that were on their way to have their cancer cured. This is in spite of the now 10-year-old movie never showing anyone in said car park, and the fact that Man of Steel's storyboard artist and the VFX team have all confirmed that the parking structure was empty and rendered as such in the film. They even explained the storybeat purposes of the explosion. It just goes to show you that even if every Snyder fan logged off of Twitter permanently, Zack Snyder would still trend on a daily basis because Kyle from North Carolina saw Man of Steel when he was 7 and thinks Superman kills babies. It's a testament to how few people saw The Flash, since the entire final act of that movie is about realizing that without Superman fighting and killing Zod, the world is doomed. You'd expect the self-proclaimed real DC fans to know that, but then again, they were probably too busy being on Twitter than going to support their movies. That about does it for this week's roundup. Tune in next time to see if Twitter is even still around. I have no idea what's going on, but I promise you'll have a front row seat for the whole ordeal. Thanks for watching.